This video, what we're going to do is get our shed ready to print. And your shed should be completed. It should have your floor, your roof, your wall styles, and your doors and windows on it. To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to create a title block down here in the sheets in your project browser. So let's right click, let's do a new sheet. Alright, the default one is a size E, which is way too big for what we need. So let's go to load, come here to title blocks, and let's do a B size sheet of paper, which is 11 by 17. Double click on it. Alright, and what we're going to do before we even do anything is we need to figure out what scale we want to have our floor plan done to. And this is what you're going to have to do every single time you create a plan. But we're going to click on first floor, click and hold, left click, and drop in there. And you can see right now our scale is 1/8 of an inch equals a foot, which is way too tiny. So let's go up to something a little bit larger. Let's find maybe 3/16. Alright, that one's not bad. Still too tiny. Let's try a half. And it's way up here. Ooh, but the half looks nice. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete this right now because you can kind of see it. It just doesn't look right. So let's delete that. And let's remember a 1/2 inch equals a foot. So when we go into our plan, what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to right click. We're going to duplicate this view. And we're going to rename this one first floor dimension, all caps. Remember, you want to do all these steps correctly. And what we do when we dimension something is we show the location of every item. In this case, we have a door and a window, nothing fancy, and then the size of our walls. So this one's going to be very easy to dimension. So we're going to use a line dimension. And we want to make sure that our detail level is on thin lines for our line weights up here, and that we have fine down here. Yours should look like this. You should see all of these different layers that we created in the wall style. So we're going to use the align dimension, and we're going to do faces of core. And that allows us to click on the face of those stud layers we made, and we always dimension to the center of doors. Alright, and we're going to do our best to keep our spacing equal. The spacing of the dimension line to the wall face. And the last thing we want to show on this one is the overall size dimension. And you can see for the second one, it's nice. It kind of snaps into place. There we go. On this side, all we would have to do is do our overall size. Alright, we're going to try and keep it the same distance as we did for that one. And on this one, we would just do our location of our window. And once again, let's try and keep the spacing that we had down here same. And mine's a little off, so I could click it and bump it down with the arrows, and that's good. Alright, we have our size and location dimensions, everything, and like I said, this shed doesn't have many dimensions on it. Alright, so now that we're ready, what we could do is come down here to sheets. Here's the one we created, and we're gonna drag and drop this in. But what you notice is that we have this giant box going around here. And we want this little line that says first floor dimension. You can't really see it from this far away, so let's delete it again. Let's come back to first floor dimension. And what we're going to do is click on this icon that shows show crop region. And if we zoom out, there's that giant box. So right now we're cropped way outside of our actual shed. So we're going to click and take this blue grip and pull it as close to our house as we can. And we're going to do that all 4 sides. Alright, and let's make sure we keep our dimension in there. And let's get our last one. Alright, now we have it cropped. What we're going to do is we don't want to show this box. So hide crop region. So now when I come back to my sheet and I drag and drop this first floor dimension in here, you could see how we have this very nice line with the bubble on the end, with our scale showing it says first floor dimension in capitalized letters because I named it correctly. Alright, so this is when it pays to do everything correct. The other thing you should see is you should see the layers of your walls in here with the ones that we created in the dimensioning. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our front elevation in here, and then we're going to put a little 3D view of our house in. So let's do that. Let's go to our elevation, and that's going to be our south elevation. And we're going to take our levels and pull them in close. That's a little too close for me. So let's click, pull it out. Okay. Now let's click and pull this one close. All right, not bad. And let's go back to our sheet. We're going to take that south view and put it in there, and you can see that's way too small. So let's increase it. 3/16. Maybe we could go up to 1/4. Yeah, I think 1/4 is going to be nice, and that will give us enough space for our 3D view right there. So let's delete it, because right now you can see if we don't delete it, our line isn't going to be nice and neat like this one is. So let's delete that. All right, let's go back to that south view. Our view is set to 1/4 inch. Let's click on that crop region. Okay, that's actually not bad. I'll pull it in just a little bit tighter. And I could even get these a little bit closer now, which will allow me to change this crop region. And let's turn that off. Let's go to our sheet. So now we could take that south elevation. We'll put that view right down there, and look at that. It looks great. The last thing we're going to do is do our 3D view. And since this was 1/4 inch, let's see if we could take this 3D view, we put it in, if we get that up to 1/4 inch as well. And that might just work. So let's delete it again. We have to delete it because the line isn't nice and neat and, on it. So we go back into the view, make sure it's set to 1/4. And we're going to take and drag and drop that view in. And you can always control it with the arrows to kind of crop it in there. Maybe these are a little too close. All right, so there's my dimensioned view. I have a 3D view. Maybe let's call the 3D view something else other than 3D. Let's call it shed. Oh yeah. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to fill out the title block information, and that's easy. All you have to do is click on it, and you could fill it out. You could refer to your sheet that you have in front of you for what you're going to fill out here. For your title block, and then when we are done, we're just going to save this, and we'll talk about how you're going to turn this in a minute. So when you have everything filled out on your title block, make sure you fill out all this information, and like I said, refer to your sheet. And then once you're ready to print, you're going to come here to print. You're going to select the A164. Mine's A153 because that's where I'm recording this video. We're going to do selected view sheets. We're going to select, we have our sheet A101. And then we are going to come up here to properties. I'm sorry, we're going to come here to setup. And then we're going to change our size to 11 by 17. Okay. And then you should just be able to hit OK. Close. And it should print out for you. What you're going to do is take that, fold it in half, and turn it into me.